Queen Esther, brave and beautiful. A story of courage, faith, and saving her people. A long time ago, in a beautiful kingdom filled with golden savannas, tall palm trees, and great stone palaces, there lived a kind and beautiful young girl named Esther. Her skin was dark and radiant like polished ebony, and her heart was full of love for God. Esther was an orphan. Her parents had died when she was very young, so she was raised by her older cousin Mordecai, a wise and gentle man. They lived in a quiet village with round mud huts, red clay roads, and the laughter of children in the air. Every evening, Mordecai would tell Esther stories from the scriptures, teaching her how to be kind, brave, and faithful. One day, far away in the capital city, King Ahasuerus, a powerful king with a tall crown and royal robes, decided to choose a new queen. He sent messengers across every province and village to gather the most beautiful and graceful young women. Esther was among those chosen. She had never been in a palace before. She had never worn gold bracelets or walked on marble floors. But she went with a heart full of trust in God. Mordecai told her, "Do not be afraid, my daughter. Walk with wisdom, and never forget who you are." At the palace, Esther met many other young women, all dressed in colorful fabrics and glittering jewels. But Esther's beauty was more than what she wore. She was gentle, humble, and kind to everyone, from the maids to the guards. Day after day, the king's eyes kept noticing Esther. She didn't brag or compete, she just stayed true to her faith and values. And then one day, the king made a royal announcement. "Let it be known throughout the kingdom, Esther shall be my queen." The palace erupted in cheers. Esther, now queen, wore a royal purple robe, a beaded golden crown, and stood beside King Ahasuerus as his bride. But no one knew her secret: she was one of God's people, a Hebrew. Sometime later, a proud and greedy man named Haman rose to power as the king's top official. He wore red robes and walked around like he owned the world. He ordered everyone to bow to him when he passed. But Mordecai, who worked at the palace gate, refused. He said, "I only bow to the Lord, the God of heaven." Haman was furious. He didn't just want to punish Mordecai, he wanted to destroy all of God's people throughout the kingdom. He tricked the king into making a law that would allow the Hebrews to be attacked on a certain day. When Mordecai heard the terrible news, he tore his clothes, covered himself in ashes, and sent a message to Esther. "You must go to the king and beg him to save us," he said. Esther was afraid. "I can't go to the king unless he calls for me," she replied. "If I enter his court uninvited, I could be killed." But Mordecai's reply was firm. "Maybe God made you queen for such a time as this." Esther knew what she had to do. She called all her maids and the Hebrews to pray and fast for 3 days. No eating, no drinking, only prayer. Then, on the 3rd day, she dressed in her most beautiful robe. Her hands trembled as she walked through the golden palace hall. As she stepped before the king, time seemed to stop. But then, the king smiled. He stretched out his golden staff to her. "What is your request, my queen? Even up to half my kingdom, it shall be yours." Esther invited the king and Haman to a banquet. The next day, she held a second feast. The king enjoyed her food, her music, and her company. And then, Esther spoke with courage. "My king, someone is planning to destroy me and my people." The king looked shocked. Who would do such a thing? Esther turned and pointed. "This man, Haman." The king was furious. Guards came at once and took Haman away. His wicked plan was stopped. Esther's people rejoiced with drums, dancing, and singing in every village. Because of Esther's courage, faith, and obedience, God used her to protect his people. Even today, we remember Queen Esther, not just for her beauty, but for her boldness and trust in God. She stood up for her people even when it was hard, and God used her in a mighty way. Moral lessons from Queen Esther's story. 1. God has a plan for you. Even though Esther was just a girl from a small village, God had a big purpose for her life. No matter where you are from, God can use you to do something amazing. 2. Be brave, even when it is hard. Esther was scared to speak up, but she chose to be brave and do the right thing. Being brave doesn't mean you are not scared. It means you trust God and do what is right anyway. 3. Stand up for others. Esther risked her life to save her people. Always speak up and help others, especially when they are in trouble or being treated unfairly. 4. Prayer and fasting help us connect with God. Before Esther acted, she prayed and fasted. She trusted God for guidance. When you don't know what to do, talk to God and listen. He will help you. 5. Kindness and humility shine brightest. Esther wasn't just beautiful, she was kind, gentle, and humble. That is what made her special. It is what is inside your heart that makes you truly beautiful. 6. You were made for such a time as this. Mordecai reminded Esther that her position as queen wasn't by accident. Wherever you are at school, at home, or with friends, you can make a difference right now.